Hello friends, so today we are going to go over Unit 8, which is circles. I'm just going to make a quick video, try to get this out in 1 or 2 videos quickly as possible. Okay, so let's talk about the vocabulary. Pi is either going to be 3.14 or 3. In class, we like to use 3 if you have answer choices, so like A, B, C, D. If you have a text box where it says what is area or what is circumference, you're going to need to use 3.14 if you get a text box, okay? I've talked about this in class, but I'm repeating myself so that way you understand what I mean, okay? The way that pi relates to circumference and diameter in a ratio is going to be that if you take circumference and you divide it by diameter, you're always going to get pi. Okay? Alright, so here, diameter is a straight line. It passes through the center. Here is the center, and it is going from edge to edge. Okay, so just remember that. Edge to edge is going to be diameter. Now, radius is also another straight line, but this one is only going from the center to the edge. Okay, so center to edge. Then we have semicircle. A semicircle is also called a half circle. Okay, it's going to use the same formula as A equals pi r squared, but the only difference is that you're going to add 1/2 in front of it. Okay, what you're doing is you're taking the area of a full circle and you're dividing it by 2. Okay, now let's talk about quarter circle. This is 1/4 of a circle. Okay, by the way, this is the diameter here. Okay, and you need the radius for area, so you would have to take your diameter and divide it by 2. That's something else that I wanted to mention. Okay, remember, this is diameter, radius is half of diameter. So if you want to go from diameter to radius, you have to take the diameter divided by 2. Okay, if you want to, again, remember, radius is half of diameter. If you want to go from radius to diameter, you're going to have to take radius times 2 to get to the diameter. Okay, quarter circle, just like half circle or semicircle, okay, you have to do A is equal to, instead of 1/2, it's going to be 1/4 pi r squared. Okay. Then we have circumference. Circumference is going to be the distance around, okay, the distance around the circle. Okay, so that's a key word for circumference. Area is going to be the space occupied by a shape or circle. This one is inside circle. Okay, so everything inside. All right. Let's go to page 73. Pause if you need to. Okay, get this down. I'm going to go to page number 2. Okay, so here in page number 2, we're going to talk about circumference. Okay, now circumference uses 2 formulas. Okay, we're going to talk about which of those 2 formulas we need. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and fill out our, let's give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Okay, so here, circumference is going to be the distance around a circle. Okay, if you have the radius, okay, you want to use this formula, C equals 2 pi r. If you have the diameter, you want to use this formula, which is C equals pi times diameter. Remember, radius is from center to edge. Diameter is from edge to edge. Okay? Now let's go ahead and label some parts on the circle. Okay? If I go from edge to edge, what I have, here is the center, what I have is the diameter. So we're going to label that diameter. And then if I go from the circle to the edge, it doesn't matter which way I go. I could go this way, this way, this way. Okay, no matter which way I draw my line, okay, at the end I could have something that looks like a pizza. These lines right here are considered the radius, okay? It is center to edge, okay? And then we have, last but not least, this right here, okay? The circumference, okay? So this green line represents the circumference. And if I were to shade the inside, the whole inside would be the area, okay? Remember that pi is related, or the fraction for pi, whatever we would do is circumference divided by diameter. I do want y'all to remember that, okay? Remember that pi is also approximately 3.14, or, like we like to use, 3, unless we have a text box, we use 3.14. Okay, so we did this in class, okay, but all we're doing is determining which ones are circumference. Remember, the keyword for circumference is around. Around, this means that this one is circumference. This one says rotating sprinkler, like what does it cover? That's not going to be one. Around, this is one. Marinara sauce covering, that is area, not circumference. Gemstones being glued around, this is a circumference question. Paint needed to cover, cover would be area. The metal needed to make a basketball hoop rim. So if you think of a basketball hoop rim, I did this different last time, but I think it's like this, something like that. This right here is just the circumference, so this is one, okay? Stones being placed around, that's another circumference question, okay? So here, we can describe pi as the ratio of the circumference. I've already talked about this once, okay? Circumference to its diameter, okay? So in other words, if you take circumference and divide it by diameter, you're going to get pi, okay? Okay. So, let me write, okay, there you go. We don't need to write anything more about that, okay? That's it. I'm going to go back up, get this down if you need to. Let's go to page 74, okay? Pause if you need to. On page 4, okay, we are going to determine if we are finding circumference. Which formula can we use, okay? So the couple of things that I want to do first is I want to write what I have. Here, I look at my circle and I see that it's going edge to edge. This is diameter, okay? And because I have diameter, okay, remember, if we look back at our notes, we said that 2 pi r is when you have radius, and circumference is equal to pi times diameter is when you have diameter. So we are going to use this one, okay? C equals pi times diameter. Now we're going to substitute our information. Remember, diameter is 20. The other piece of information we need is pi, which can be 3.14 or 3. I'm going to use 3, okay? So 3 times diameter, which is 20. I know that 3 times 2 is 6, which is just going to be 60 once I add that 0, and this is inches. Now, because this is circumference, I'm done. All right. Now, let's do number 2, okay? We have radius from center to edge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write pi, and this time I'm going to use 3.14, okay? I think in class I just used 3. Because I have radius, I can use 2 pi r. So C equals 2 pi r. I'm going to go ahead and substitute. So 2 times 3. Oops, I said I was going to use 3.14. Let's go back and fix that. Okay, 3.14 times radius, which is 5. Okay, I'm going to take care of 2 times 5 first. That is 10. So C equals 10 times 3.14. Okay. Now, whenever I do this, I get 31.4, okay? And this is going to be centimeters. Okay, I can also show you on paper too. I did use my calculator just to make it faster. But here, times 10, 0, 0, 0, 0 here, 4, 1, 3, and there is 2 decimals, so it would be in between 1 and 4. So here, this is my final answer. Okay? All right, let's go to number 3 and 4. So number 3 and 4, okay, is saying that the closest distance traveled in feet after 1 rotation. So here we just want 1 time. So all we're doing is finding the circumference that the tire is for 1 round. Okay, so it gives us the diameter. It says it right here. It's not going through the actual circle, but that means it's going from edge to edge. So we are going to be using this because we have a diameter of 28. So C equals pi times diameter. C equals to 3 times diameter, which is 28. Okay, so 28 times 3. I know that 8 times 3 is 24, if I'm not mistaken. And then 2 times 3 is 6, 7, 8. So we would have C is equal to 84 inches. Okay? Now, that's it. Okay? What it really boils down to is, do you have radius? Do you have diameter? You choose the correct formula for it, and then substitute your answers. Okay? Marcus bought a new pair of rollerblades. Each wheel of the skate measures 4 millimeters in radius. If you have a question that looks like this, draw it out. Okay? It says each wheel of the skate measures 4 millimeters in radius. That means from center to edge, it is 4 millimeters. Okay? So because we have radius and not diameter, we're going to use C equals 2 pi r. So C equals 2 pi r. C equals to 2 times pi. Remember, pi is 3.14 or 3. Okay, I'm going to use 3. Times radius, which is 4. Okay. 2 times 4 is going to be 8. And then I'll have 8 times 3, which is 24 millimeters. Okay. And that's it. Okay. That's part of the answer. I almost forgot that it is asking you how much it's going to be in 100 rotations. So our final answer is really going to be 24, or 100 times 24. And we all know that 24 times 1 is 24, and then I just add those 2 zeros, so it's going to be 24 millimeters in 100 rounds, or rotations. Okay. So our final answer is 2,400 millimeters. Okay. Now, let's go to page 74. Pause if you need to. Take a moment to get this all down, okay, if you don't already have it in your notes. And then we're going to go to page 75, okay? All right. 75 is just talking about the area of circles, okay? So here, the area is the square units that are inside of a circle, okay? Now here we have this formula, okay? For just a full circle, you're going to do pi r squared. Remember, pi can be 3.14 or 3. This r squared means r times r, okay? Now let's go over here and we're going to do the same thing just to refresh our memories, okay? This outside part is going to be your circumference, okay? So this green is circumference. If you have a line going across like this, edge to edge, cross in the center, that is going to be your diameter. If it's going from the edge to the center, or the center to the edge, that is going to be radius. Okay? And again, I'm going to do this in pencil, but anything, when it's in the inside, that is going to be area. Okay? So when you're trying to find area, you're trying to find all of the inside. Okay? Now let's go ahead and look at these questions here, these scenarios, and see if it's area. Okay, around, that is going to be circumference. Amount of grass, a rotating sprinkler of water. So what it's asking is, what does it cover? Okay, that is going to be area. Fencing around, that's circumference. Marinara sauce covering. Cover means that it's wanting to know what it covers. Just like I shaded over here, when you're trying to find area, you're trying to find out what I covered, what I shaded in. Okay, so this is going to be area. Okay, gemstones being glued around, that's circumference. Paint needed to cover, cover is going to be area. The metal needed to make a basketball in hoop rim, that's the rim, that's just the outside, so that is circumference. Stones being placed around, around is circumference. Okay, all right, get that down. Okay, and pause it if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and move to page 76. All right, let's go to page 76. So now here we're just going to find the area. Okay, unlike circumference, you only have one formula, but the difference between this one and finding area and finding circumference is that you're going to need only the radius. So like number 1, you have the diameter. This is the diameter. You don't need the diameter. You need the radius. Okay? So if your diameter is 20, remember from the first page that we did when we talked about the vocabulary, if you're going from diameter to radius, you need to take the diameter and divide it by 2. So we are going to do 20 divided by 2, which is going to be 10. So radius is 10. Okay? Now, we are going to rewrite our formula. A equals pi r squared. Area is equal to 3. Because remember, pi is either 3.14. If we want to make our life, if we want to get an exact answer, it'd be 3.14. But if we want to make it a little bit easier, we can use 3. Okay? Now, r squared was, remember, radius was 10. We figured out it was 10. So we're going to do r squared. Now 10 squared means 10 times 10, which is going to be 100. So here we have 3 times 100, which is just going to be 300 inches. Now because this is area, we are going to label it 300 inches squared. Okay. All right, let's go to number, oops, I went too far. Number 2. Now if you look at number 2, it's different. It's different because it gives us radius already. It doesn't give us diameter, so we don't need to do any division like we did over here in number 1. Okay? Area is equal to pi r squared. Area is equal to 3. I'm going to do 3.14 this time. Times radius, which is 5. Don't forget the square. Okay? Remember, 5 squared means 5 times 5. And that is going to be 25, so I'm going to rewrite 3.14 times 25. Now, all I have to do is 3.14 times 25. 4 times 5 is 20, 5, 6, 15. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. So here, 6 plus 8 is going to be 14. 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. So we would get this right here. Okay, so 78 and 40. Okay, 78 and 40 hundredths centimeters squared. Okay, now what happens if I were to use 3? Okay, I'm going to show you using my calculator. Okay, so if I use my calculator and I do, instead of 3.14, I do 3. Okay, we all know that we're going to have 5 times 5, which is 25, times 3. I'm going to get 75. Now, if you notice, 75 is a little bit lower than 78.40. That's because we're rounding it down to 3. Okay, so when you have answer choices, for instance, you've already seen this in class, but especially with the extra tickets, you want to pick, if you get 75, you want to pick the number that is just a tiny bit higher. If you decide to pick 80 or 90, you've gone too high. Okay, it's usually going to be in like just a couple of numbers up. Okay, all right. So here, let's go to number 3. Okay, we have some word problems here. When you have word problems, just like I did on the circumference, I want you to draw the picture if you need to, okay? So, it says that they're measuring a half dollar that is 4 centimeters from one side to the other side. Okay, what that means is edge to edge. Okay, so I'm going to draw my circle, and it's saying from edge to edge, it is 4 centimeters. That means what I have is diameter. Okay, so what do I have to do if I have diameter? Well, I don't need the diameter. I do need the radius. So if diameter is 4, I take 4, divide it by 2, and I'm going to get 2. This is what I need. I also need pi, which is going to be either 3.14 or 3. Let's use 3 for this one. Okay, so here, area is equal to pi r squared. Remember, we're using 3 instead of 3.14. Radius is 2 squared. Okay, now with 2 squared, that means 2 times 2. Okay, 2 times itself 2, not 2 times the exponent 2. And then that's going to be 4. So here we get 3 times 4, which is going to be 12 centimeters squared. Okay, this is our answer. All right, let's go to the last one. Okay, so here again, I'm going to draw a circle. Okay. It's saying that the sprinkler is rotating, water says line up to a radius of 7 feet. Radius is center to edge. So from here to here, that is 7 feet. Okay? So area is equal to pi r squared. A is equal to, we're going to actually use 3.14 for this one. So 3.14 times radius, which is 7 squared. Now, I know that this means 7 times 7, which is going to equal to 49. Okay? Now, I'm going to rewrite this with 3.14 times 49. So all I have to do over here is 3.14 times 49. I know that 9 times 4 is 36. 9, 10, 11, 12. That is going to be 3 times 9, which is 27, plus 1 is 28. Okay, and then I know that 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, okay, so we're going to add these, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I have 2 digits after the decimal, 2 digits after the decimal. So my final answer is going to be 153 and 86 hundredths feet squared. Don't forget the squared. Okay, that is going to be my final answer. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out here in a second. Pause if you need to before I finish. Okay, and here, pause if you need to get this, so we can move forward to the last page. Okay. On the last page, okay, I have area of quarter circles and semicircles. Okay, so the area is going to be the square. Remember, we just talked about this in the last one. Is going to be the square units that are inside of a circle, of a quarter, okay, or semicircle. Okay, so we're going to talk about each one of these here in a minute. Okay, this figure that you see right here, it's half of a circle. If I were to continue drawing my circle the best I could, it would be a full circle. Okay, this one is a semi or half circle. Okay, now with the semicircle, you have one flat side. That's this side right here. Okay, this flat side is the diameter. If you think about it, the center is right here and is going edge to edge. Okay, this is the diameter. Now, if I were to break this up to where I said, okay, you know what, let me draw this like this. Okay, I'm going to just trace this part right here. What you see dotted, okay, that is basically a quarter circle, which is over here. Okay, that means that this is the radius right here. Okay, So if you are looking for the area of a semicircle, you want to take the diameter and you want to change it to radius. How do we do that? Well, we are going to do diameter divided by 2 to equal the radius. Okay? Okay. Now let's look at this one here. If I were to look at either one of the flat sides, okay? Let's just look at this one right here, okay? And I'm actually going to continue it because I want to keep it aligned with what I'm doing over here, okay? If I were to try to draw this half circle the best I could, what I end up getting is a semicircle, okay, right? And we know that this is the diameter here, okay? Now, if you see, okay, what I have here is basically the same thing that I have here, okay? This side is going to be the radius, okay? Another thing that I want to bring up that was in the work that we did today in class is you might see some semicircles that have a line that kind of goes out like this, okay? That's your radius, okay? If it's going from the center to the curved side, it's your radius. But if it's, and even like here, if you see the quarter circle, any one of these two flat sides is your radius, okay? We don't have the diameter in quarter circles. You never get the diameter, you always get the radius. Okay, so this is called a quarter circle. Now remember, semicircle is 1/2 of a circle, quarter circle is 1/4 of a circle. Okay, let's look at the formulas. So, there's two ways that I write these formulas, okay? I've always written it this way that I'm about to show you, but I'm going to show you the way that I have started seeing and teaching it over here at York Junior High, okay? So here, the semicircle, okay, is going to be 1/2 pi r squared, okay? Now, 1/2, the other way that you can write this is just to put pi r squared, but then dividing it by 2, okay? Now, over here for the quarter circle, we have 1/4 pi r squared, but you can also write it to where you have pi r squared, so you're finding the area first and then dividing it by 4, okay? Either way you write it is fine. You just have to remember that for semicircles, you're dividing by 2 once you find your area, and quarter circles, you are dividing it by 4. So let's take a look at 2 examples. Tracy needs to lay new soil in her flower bed. Determine how many square feet of soil she will need. So here, square feet, that means area. So we're going to write, now I'm looking at this, and what I have is a half circle, which is giving me the diameter, okay? If it's showing you like this, it is diameter. So I don't want diameter. I know that it's 8, but what I want is radius. So what do? We take 8 divided by 2, we get 4. Okay? So your radius is 4, that's what we're using. We're also using pi, which can be 3.14, or 3. Let's use 3. So A equals 1/2 pi r squared. Area is equal to 1/2 times 3 times radius, which is 4 squared. I know that 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is going to be 16. Okay, so here area is equal to 1/2 times 3 times 16. 16 times 3, let's work that out. 6 times 3 is 18, 3, 4. So now what I have is 1/2 times 48. Okay, now you're going to ask, well, how do I do that? Well, if you take 48 and put it over 1, what you have is 1 times 48 over 2 times 1, which is just 48 divided by 2. So let's take 48 divided by 2. 2 can go into 4 2 times, and 2 can go into 8 4 times. So my final answer is going to be 24 centimeters squared. Okay, now, oops, couldn't see that. On this next one, we're going to actually use 3.14. So let's go ahead and read it. York Junior High, Student council is painting a sign for the school dance. Determine how many square feet. We are needing area, of course. So here, and I'm actually going to write this one this way right here. Pi r squared over 4. Okay, so area is equal to pi, which we said we're going to use 3.14 for this one, times radius. Radius is on a quarter circle going to be what the flat side is, so times 7 squared. Now I know that 7 squared is really 7 times 7, which is 49. Now here I have A is equal to 3.14 times 49. Okay, 3.14 times 49. I know that 9 times 4 is 36. 9, 10, 11, 12. 27 plus 1 is 28. 16. 4, 5. And then 12. So here, 6, 8, 13, 5, and 1. So what we get is, see, this is why I don't like writing it this way, but what I forgot to do is divide by 4, divide by 4. There we go. Ooh, almost forgot that. Now, I have 153.86 divided by 4. Okay? So, let's go ahead. I'm going to take out my calculator because I ran out of space to write this. Okay? I'm going to take 153.86 and I'm going to divide it by 4. And my final answer is going to be 38.40, let's round it up, 7. Okay, this is going to be feet squared. Okay, I hope that last one made sense. I know it was a little messy. I prefer, honestly, after showing you this way in these notes, because I haven't actually shown it this way in class, I don't like writing it this way because you're going to end up forgetting to divide by 4. I like writing it this way. Write the fraction so that you have it there and you don't forget to rewrite it, okay? All right, so here, let's go ahead and stop the notes here. I'm going to zoom out. Pause if you need to get this down. I will have another mini notes of circles, quarter circles, and all that you can also look at, all right? Bye. Have a good day.